This show is brought to you by listeners and viewers like you. Evanex.com Tesla accessories, our TeslaOwnersOnline.com community, and our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/TeslaOwnersOnline. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Tesla Owners Online podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Page. Today is May 6th. This is episode, what is it, Ian? 102? 102 now.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So Ian is joining me, and so is Raj from the Tesla Raj YouTube channel. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good, Trev. Good.
Well, thank
How are you?
Well, I'm pretty darn good. I mean, we had a little bit of a hiatus there from the last show, but that's good because we get a bunch of Tesla news that kind of piles up. So now's the time to actually get into some of that stuff. So we have a number of Tesla things that we want to talk about tonight, but I thought it would be really fun to talk about SpaceX first. Because yesterday they had the epic landing. So I'm going to share out my screen here. For those of you listening on the podcast, well, you'll get to listen in. If you want to see exactly what we're going to be talking about, well, tune into the YouTube channel, and then you guys can see what we're talking about. So we're going to fast forward a little bit here. This is the official SpaceX feed from the serial number 15 landing, and we're going to watch the landing. Oh, can you guys hear the sound okay?
Yep, it's coming through fine.
Yeah, good little rumble here. Okay, here we go. Now, of course, they've been launching in the clouds the last 2 episodes, so they get a lot of dropouts.
Ignition.
Here we go.
Starship heading back to the landing zone.
Come on, nail it. Well, we know how this ends.
We do, but for those of you who haven't seen it.
God. We're going to the moon. We're going to Mars, baby.
Yeah.
There we go.
This was the part that I was most nervous about until the smoke cleared.
Yeah, we're all like, stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up. You know?
Exactly. And a little bit of a fire on the end.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh,
they don't have enough water suppression. I think they need
and
to.
And Starbase Flight Control has confirmed, as you can see on the live video, we are down. The Starship has landed.
Sweet.
We're going through the safing sequence in the flight computer right now. We'll be back in a moment.
All right, we'll pause that. Let's talk about this. This was pretty epic.
Oh,
wow.
It was so good. So good.
I mean, it's so 15. Has it been 15 times that they've
No, this
lifted
is
off?
they've done this. They've only been doing this program for 5 months now.
Yeah,
So
but how many actual attempts? Was 5 or 6?
8, 9, 10, 11, and 15. So this is the 5th attempt.
5th. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I mean, just to understand the size of that thing. I mean, that's not that I'm saying that, landing the prior rockets was easy, but I mean, he definitely made it look easy because now it just nails it every single time. But this thing is like leaps and bounds bigger and heavier and just like ridiculous. If you look back and see the ones that didn't land, you're like, what the heck? And so to see that land is that's skills.
Yeah. Well, they make the Falcon 9 look easy, but this is a completely different animal. We're talking about new engine, a new design, a new method of landing. Nobody's done this belly flop thing before. It's pretty incredible what they've been able to pull off. Now, I think it's important to remember here, this is serial number 15. They say there was about 100 changes that they've implemented on this particular model compared to all the others that they had done prior. So whatever changes that they've done, if it was, in fact, responsible for that, well, they certainly nailed it this time. Again, remember, this is a test program, so they have a lot of other things they want to do. I think they said, I think serial number 16 is in the shed, so it's getting ready. Should be able to launch in about 2 weeks' time. And they're currently building, what is it, BN2 or BN3? That's the booster, which is a monster. Yeah. Don't forget, folks, what you've been seeing is only 1/3 of the finished rocket. They still have a first stage booster, which is going to push this whole thing up. They're saying serial number 20 should be the full stack, and that's what they want to do an orbital flight with. So that should be really impressive. So they got to hustle and finish up that launch tower. Have you guys been watching the progress that's been going on at Boca Chica? Watching like NASA Space Flight Channel and stuff?
Not much. I try and catch all of the Starship.
A couple space nerds, and you're not watching what's going on?
It's springtime in the wheel business, dude. There's not enough hours.
I know. I'm just teasing you. Anyways, they're making lots of progress. They built an orbital tower a launch pad, if you will, which is a bunch of pipes out of the ground, and they've got this huge steel structure they're going to put on top of that. And then beside that, they've got a concrete pillar thing, and then they've got this steel girder thing. I think it's going to end up looking very similar to what they built or they refurbished at Pad 39A, but much taller than what they've done there. So, and remains to be seen, because Elon has said they want to attempt to catch this booster. So I don't know how the hell they're going to do that.
I never question anymore. It's like he's like says things, and I'm just like, all right, just
well,
go ahead and do it.
The thing is that he says things, and they have plans to attempt it, and if it doesn't work, well, okay, fine, we'll just move on to something else.
Well, to that point, I was going to say, did either of you guys see that article that came out in the Atlantic today?
About what?
Well, about the actual fact that they did it. And it was, we're all very sensitive about how both Tesla and SpaceX are portrayed in the media and how there's so much negative press and FUD and everything else, and the Atlantic is a pretty pointy publication at times. They go after people pretty hard on a lot of things, but this, I won't call it gushing praise, but it was pretty damn positive. And I should find the title on it. It was great. It was like, it looks like Tesla sort of really kind of is going to go to Mars is kind of the title of the thing. And they go through like all the gyration as to how this happened. But I mean, it's basically saying, yeah, this is real. These guys are not joking around anymore. This thing works, and they're going to Mars.
What I thought was interesting is the timing of this particular landing, picture perfect and all the other stuff. It's just a perfect period at the end of the sentence from the two other companies that lost out to the human landing system contract saying, we didn't get a chance and stuff. And here's Elon going, can you guys do this?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
my God.
It was a hell of a mic drop, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That article was like, I'm guessing you're hinting at that article, right? That was just, it just made, Jeff B just be like, just crying like a baby. Like, I didn't get picked. What about, the rest of us? Like, dude, I don't see anything. I don't see you doing anything. I mean, do something and maybe you'll get consideration.
Well, you have to hand it to NASA. I mean, they handed out to tender and contracts, and they picked the best winner based on technology that was proven. At this point, the only thing that we've seen from Bezos' company was a mock-up of a lunar lander. Like, how much engineering did they actually do? In a lot of ways, I mean, yeah, it would have been fair for everybody to participate in stuff, but you got to look at what Elon's doing. He says, look, we're going to build a single rocket, or maybe two variants, one that'll be Mars bound and one that'll be moon bound. And we're already in the test phase program. We're not doing concepts at this point. We're actually testing this stuff. I mean, you have to remember too, NASA has to look at it in the sense, I'm sorry, I don't want to turn this into a SpaceX podcast, but they want to go to the moon by 2024. I mean, that's an insanely short amount of time. And, Ian and I grew up watching the Apollo program, and like they went from nothing to on the moon in 8 years, but that was 500,000 people and how many thousands of contractors working on this. And then NASA's basically picking one contractor. So, SpaceX has got to hustle. They got a lot of work ahead of them. So anyways, fun to talk about. It's interesting, but we're here for the Tesla news, so let's move on and talk about the Tesla news. All right, let me share out my screen one more time here, and let's get the show on the road. It's always fun. All right, our first article comes from our friends at Teslarati. Let's bring this up so you guys can see that. All right, so it looks like Tesla has sold out the production for Q2 of 2021 already. I mean, we're halfway through the quarter, and they've already met their quota for that. So it looks like production capacity Q2 2021 bodes well for EV makers. You have to remember, I mean, if we look at the Q1 numbers, that was all in the back of Model 3 and Model Y. No S's and X's delivered. And apparently no S's and X's coming anytime soon either. So
didn't he say on the financial call, like, I think in June? I think we might see just a little dribble towards the end of the quarter.
I would certainly hope so, but that, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, how many of those cars they sell compared to the 3 and the Y?
Oh, it'll be a tiny fragment.
It'll be a fraction of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see the S's and X's. Everybody's been waiting for these cars way too long. But this is all on the backs of 3 and Y. So very, very impressive. What do you guys think? Do you think it's possible for Tesla to hit 1 million cars this year? If all goes well? Let's be conservative. Let's call it 800,000. 800,000? Can I get 800?
800,000 for sure. I'm in for 800. No
Yeah?
problem.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I think. Well, I think the other thing is like S and X are coming this year, delayed, later. So that's still going to be counted for this year. Those orders are already in. And then just the demand on Y, I'm telling you, it's insane. Like,
Okay, so
people
you're
are just
in the
like,
Bay Area.
yeah.
What have you seen? You've seen a lot. I mean, I've noticed quite a number of Ys in our area.
The amount
here.
of 3s and Ys is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like every other car, and people that I thought had no idea about vehicles or weren't even looking at next cars, whatever. Like they're all of a sudden, I'm getting a Y. I'm like, okay, it's different than the 3. The takeoff is much higher than the 3. The 3 there was a ramp, but here it's like
they
this
hit
is
the ground
just
running pretty quickly with the Y.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I think so.
Anecdotally, I mean, just from watching cars driving around, I'm seeing a lot of Ys, brand new. Obviously, on the forums and stuff, there's a lot of people talking about, I'm taking my delivery of the Y. I'm not hearing quite as much about the 3 anymore. It's mostly the Y. I mean, we are North America. We love our little SUVs, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Interestingly, in Quebec, there's still a hell of a lot of 3s moving because it's eligible for both the federal, in an SR Plus, you can get the $5,000 from the federal government and the $8,000 from Quebec. So you can be rolling an SR Plus out the door here for about $40,000 Canadian. That would be what, 30 US, maybe a little under, depending on the exchange rate on giving on the day. Yeah. So just in the 3 blocks around my house, there are 6, count them, 6 3s, including one right next door to me, and 2 Ys just popped up. So wow. We're taking over. We're taking over here, baby.
Yeah, I think, and the Y is that, there as families grow, right? You're going from like for me right now, a Y would be perfect. Like it would be the most ideal vehicle for me to have for my family. And so as you grow, you're looking at a new vehicle, something that fits your growth of your family, your kids now. And the price of a Model Y with 7 seats is like the best value, bar none. Like the amount of space you have, the cargo space you have, the room for, as your kids mature out of a car seat and they can go use a 3rd row. I get it. 3rd row is not ideal for, but you're a child for a while before you outgrow that 3rd row seat and you can leverage that. And as a kid, like I would hang out back there. I want to be as far away from my parents as I can. So,
of course.
Why not?
Raj, did you entertain the thought about going to a Y there for a little while, or?
I still do. I am at this like very weird crossroad where it's like, I want one, but my 2 biggest qualms are I don't want to spend $10K for FSD again.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was pushing for FSD transferability. And I've got a pre-order for a Cybertruck. So it's kind of like between the 2, do I wait for the Cybertruck or do I get a Y now? So I'm trying to like just hold tight for the truck, because also for the truck, I got FSD at 7K. So it's like,
you locked in like I did.
Yeah, and the Cybertruck is a little bit more versatile. It may not be necessarily family friendly, but it's got 6 seats. So I don't know.
I think you'll find the Cybertruck to be very family friendly. The interior space is very, very close to Model X, which tickles my fancy. We get the Model X windshield. The fact that you got a bed on there. I mean, I think it's going to check a lot of boxes off there. I mean, I've never been a pickup truck guy, right? But there's just something about this stupid truck that is just like, I want one so bad.
Yeah, I was called a pretty boy in the comments because I clearly did not know that a truck doesn't need to be parked in the garage. And I had a video that I made where it doesn't fit in the garage. And like, oh man, those comments, if you want a good time, go check out the comments on
mine
the Cybertruck doesn't fit.
Yeah, mine doesn't fit in the garage. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. The next article comes from our friends at Inside EVs. Now, Ian had popped this one in because I had completely forgotten about this because we were talking about the Q1 numbers. Now, we're not really going to get into the Q1 numbers. There's other better channels out there that can look at that stuff. Channels like Rob Maurer, for example, at Tesla Daily does a really great job looking at Tesla financials. But we thought we'd talk about this one because this one was largely overlooked by the industry, and it's titled, "This is Why Tesla Hasn't Been Affected by the Global Chip Shortage." So the article basically goes in and talks. There's a little snippet in here, and I'll read it here kind of verbatim. It says, in Q1, and this is Elon, or the company pointed out, Tesla, says, in Q1, we were able to navigate through global chip supply shortage issues in part by pivoting extremely quickly to new microcontrollers while simultaneously developing firmware for new chips made by new suppliers. Now, Ian, you're in the car industry. You've seen it from both ends. What are your thoughts on this?
All the guys we deal with are having a hell of a time. I mean, this is industry wide. All the legacy automakers to one degree or another are suffering, and it doesn't take much. I mean, one key component's missing. That's it. You've got a production line shut down. Yeah. So it's serious, and what's heartbreaking is it theoretically should be an excellent year for the auto industry because we're sort of in recovery mode, right? I mean, sales were really ramping up nicely across all segments, and all of a sudden, the brakes come on because there's just no chips available. So this to me was like such a beautiful snapshot of what's brilliant about Tesla. I mean, the fact that everybody's like, oh, well, they just do things like so last minute. No. They're agile. This is like, it's a big company that acts like it has all of the advantages of a small one in terms of how it thinks and how it operates. And to be able to instantly jump out of the box and change configurations, go to these microcontrollers, whatever, on the fly is brilliant. I mean, it means it's a beautiful demonstration of how they can weather a storm.
Yeah.
I just thought it was super impressive.
I think it's also important to remember that because Tesla has over-the-air software updates, they have the ability, and the cars are engineered this way, by the way, they have the ability over the communication buses to actually go and talk to not only their software and their controllers, but also third-party controllers. They have the ability to go in and target different modules, window control modules, windshield wiper control modules. Tesla doesn't make those. They buy those things off the shelf, but they have the ability to go in and change the firmware on those things through software updates. Car manufacturers can only do that if you bring it to a dealer and they plug it into their computers and they can do the software updates. This is pretty evident if you've done software updates and maybe you kept your car in the garage and you hear the clicks and the bumps and all kinds of things going on in the car.
And if I can put a pause on that, if you've never done that, especially if you have a garage where it's really quiet, go in, shut all the lights off, and sit there the whole 20 minutes through the update. Man, is that a show. It's like this whole little sci-fi. It's spooky, actually.
I don't have the tweet in front of me, but I did tweet a video of a mass software update, and I think it was in, was it Shanghai or Fremont, where Tesla was sending out a mass update to all the cars sitting in and you could see all the lights flashing in the, So,
but it's the sound. It does the weirdest It's like, what the hell is that?
Well, they're cycling. I mean, certain modules can move and stuff, and they're cycling all that stuff. So that's part of the software update. It's not just what you see on the screen. They have the ability to go down to everything in the car and touch them if they need to. So that's a big differentiator with these guys compared to everybody else. So anyways, I thought it was pretty interesting, and they've been able to weather it quite well. I mean, that's why Tesla's, doing so well. I mean, what is it? We saw Ford. I saw an article, and unfortunately I don't have it in front of me here, but they had a whole bunch of cars that are basically paused. I have a friend of mine, by the way, there's a Honda plant not very far from where we live here, where they make Civics and all this other stuff. They were shut down because they couldn't. They didn't have any chips. And Elon has said this before. I mean, during the Model 3 product ramp, he says, stuff like, well, the car has about 7,000 parts. If we have one part that we can't get, you can't make a car. I mean, there's stories of some manufacturers building cars and a part's missing and they sit on the lot and then they go in and fix them after the fact. But, if you're missing a USB cable or you're missing a camera or something like that, that's a very difficult thing. You can't just tear the car apart to go back and retrofit. Yeah. So it's pretty obvious. I mean, you have a chip shortage and that controller is governing something that's deep inside the car, outside of maybe a radio or something that can be pulled out of the stack. You can't make cars. Pretty obvious. So Tesla's pretty agile. They can change things around and stuff. So,
Raj, you looked like you wanted to jump in back there. Did you have
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, Ian, because you've got the experience with this. But what are what parts are using these chips on legacy auto? Like today, a non Tesla. Where are these chipsets being used? I think Trevor was mentioning something about like the window module controller. Like from someone like me, like I don't know what's inside the vehicle, and I'm sure there's others that are listening that probably don't know, but where are these chips?
Well, this is what's, and again, one of the genius things about Tesla architecture is so much of it is centralized. You don't have that many computers in a Tesla compared to the legacies, where just body controllers alone, you can have sometimes 10 different boxes, 10 actual little CPUs that are controlling different aspects of the vehicle, all talking to the central one, which is usually the drivetrain controller, which becomes the central brain. But so much of the rest of it, there's one for the climate control, one for entertainment, one for, whatever's going on in the back of the car. Yeah.
All
So
made
you
by
can have
separate
up to 10 of these
manufacturers.
modules. And all you need is one chip missing, one processor missing to build one of these modules, and that's it. That module stops. You don't have it.
So in a Tesla, I mean, there's things like Ian mentioned there's body controllers, there's controllers for the doors that, actuate things like the windows, the windshield wipers. Raj, if you want a good example, just peek underneath your driver or your passenger side seat, and you'll see lots of modules under there. That's all part of that system. There's modules that govern things like the airbags, the seat controllers, all that stuff, sensors. Cars have a lot of chips in them these days. We always think that Tesla has a lot of chips, everybody else, but no, gas cars have a lot of them too. But they don't have the over-the-air update abilities, and that's really what sets them apart in a lot of ways. But okay, so moving on, our next article has to talk about the referral program. So apparently, let's go into Inside EVs here, and we'll just take a look at that. Look at that beautiful Roadster, isn't that nice? Referral program. For those of you who might be just joining our channel, maybe you're not aware, maybe you're just trying to get your feet wet in the Tesla environment, let me just give you a little primer. Tesla does not spend money on traditional advertising. So in lieu of that, what they do is they have something called a referral program. And the referral program has changed over the years several different times. There have been physical prizes, there have been non-physical prizes, there's been benefits in certain ways. And the benefits have been for typically both the buyer and the referrer. Okay, so if I got that straight. The latest iteration of the referral program now is 1,000 miles or 1,500 kilometers of free supercharging for both parties. So if somebody buys a car, they use your referral code, everybody gets a little bonus. So anyway, scuttlebutt going around is that Tesla spent some $23 million on this free supercharging they've handed out to everybody. Obviously, with the pandemic situation going on, not a lot of people are driving anymore. And of course, these supercharging miles also expire up to a maximum of 36 months. In my case, I'm good until about April of 2023. Yeah. There was a 6-month extension that Tesla gave us last year because of the pandemic, but since then we haven't had anything else. So if you don't use the miles, you lose them. So apparently what's going to potentially happen, and the scuttlebutt going around, is that it's going to be an app-based referral program promoting in-person referrals, so test drives. So rather than spamming or whatever, trying to get people to use your referral code, that it'll be more of a personal one-on-one to try and get people to be more personable in the sense that you take somebody for a ride, they like it, then you can pull it up on your phone and maybe give them a QR code or something to that effect. Anyways, we don't know what the benefits are at this point. They haven't spelled it out. So we're expecting to see this fairly shortly. There was an article, and I don't have it here, but there was something that just popped up today. And it looked like it might have been sort of an early version of this or something like that. Anyways, I don't have all the details.
Like
I'll look it up. Yeah, exactly. Sneak peek or something like that. So anyways, these kind of things usually come about. Tesla will not usually announce it. It just kind of happens, and something will change in your app. You'll update your app, and then the loot box will change or something like that. So we'll be on the lookout changing this. What do you guys think? I mean, is the current referral program okay with you? Do you think it needs to change? What are your thoughts about it?
I don't know. It's okay. I mean, to be honest, the expiration date kind of sucks. Like it's like, hey, if I got it, just let me have it and and use it. Like I've got a ton of miles. I don't even know how many I have, but I've got a ton, and it's going to expire in 2023. We got a couple road trips this year, but I mean, it's a ton. And then I'd have to get a secondary. What I do like is that you can put 2 cars on your account, and both cars will pool from those.
Yeah, it's not per car. It's a pool that goes into your account.
Yeah. But that means then that's another $50K car I gotta drop down. But I mean, listen, 1,000 miles is awesome for someone who's just getting started. For those that are referring the new referee, I've always been a proponent of, like, I know they went off the deep end giving out cars, and congrats to you, Trevor. I hate you. but when you get yours. But I've been like the fan of like, just give me some swag. Like, let me get a shirt, a hat, something like, like they used to give out. I have this really cool Tesla suitcase. I think you have one too, Trevor.
One. Well, I didn't win it. A friend of mine gave it to me, so it's a really nice suitcase.
Yeah, just like cool little things like that. Especially also because that Tesla is like, whenever they come out with an item, there's an element of that has some uniqueness, that has some. It's like a supreme kind of merchandise that you want to keep it and not touch it, and it's got value to it.
You mean like the bottle of Tesla Tequila behind you?
Yes, exactly like that. So maybe these people who have a lot of referrals, they get something unique, something that's special, just that it's about appreciation. I mean, Tesla's not spending any money on advertising. I get it. Some people look at it as like, well, you know what? I sold X. Like, I don't sit here and calculate how many referrals I made, how much is each car, and how much profit I brought into Tesla. I get it. I brought in a lot. And my mom has said this to me too. She's like, well, does Tesla pay you? And I'm like, no. And I don't really care because I like it and I want to promote the message. I want people to get it. And the people who buy the car, it's not about I getting anything out of it. It's about them loving what they bought. And if they come back to me and go like, dude, I love my car, I'm like, that's awesome. Great. But if Tesla's going to say, hey, I'm going to give you something and you want my opinion on it, like, cool, give me something cool. Right now, the miles, I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's not super fun.
I've got a lot
exciting.
of miles too, but I'm never going to use them. And if it would be really nice, I'd like to pay it forward if they gave us the ability to transfer or donate them or something.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to use
like
it.
my buddy, he just bought his Model 3, and he used my referral code, so he got 1,000. And he's so excited about taking a road trip to visit his family out in Arizona. And I was like, dude, if I could have given you some miles, I'd give you like another 5,000 miles on top of that. Like, enjoy that whole trip for free.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
but I think in a lot of ways, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, a nice jacket would be nice, corporate jacket or something.
Yes,
or something unique. I mean, Tesla at one point. I mean, you have to remember the early days of the referral program, they had smaller physical prizes. I mean, they had the Tesla owner puff jacket. Have you seen those? The winter or the spring,
It said your name on it.
Yeah, well, they had them quilted and stuff. They had that luggage piece, which was nice. And then it got a little crazy, and they started giving away power walls and sets of wheels, and then they graduated to cars, which got really out of hand in a hurry.
Yeah. And I think, that whole thing about, I get why they're doing it. It's very costly to them, so reevaluate that piece. But at the same time, you don't want people shoving referral down your throat. I think that was like the other piece of it is like, just being appropriate with it. I think when I first started my YouTube channel, I mentioned it a couple times, and then I started to read and see how people took it. And people didn't really like the mentioning of it. And so I just said, you know what, fine. I'm not going to mention anything, whatever. It's sitting down in the comments. If you want to go and look it up and use it, go ahead. And then it's like people started using it. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm not talking about it. You're using it.
Funny how that works, eh? It's been the same thing for me. I never ever mention it. I never plug it. It's the only place you can find it publicly is in the comments on this show. And I still somehow managed to get, I don't know, about 20 people into Teslas. I mean, and thank you, every one of you. I mean, yeah, I know. I just get a little thrill. I was like, hey, somebody actually used my code. That means you really tried. I mean, you had to go digging to the end of the internet.
I did notice a rather large explosion of YouTube channels when the last referral program started.
Yeah,
a lot of people are like, oh man, I might have a chance at a roadster or something.
No, remember the stories? People were buying billboards and putting. That got totally out of control.
That got out of hand. I mean, I know on the forum we had some people that were very much abusing the system in such a way. They're spamming people private messages and all kinds of stuff. So we had to put a stop to that. And anyways, it is what it is. It's moved on. I'll be interested to see what they do the next time around. I mean, I look at the referral program in terms of previous ones, and there's some stuff they still haven't delivered yet. I mean, what was it? Drive a boring machine, race a semi-truck around a track.
What about shooting our name into space? I never heard anything
that
about
one too. That still hasn't happened yet. They did have the Falcon Heavy launch, though. They did deliver on that one.
Yeah.
That was a couple years ago, or the 2018 for the first one, I think it was, right?
Well, I'll tell you, I would love some swag just because I can't even use the supercharging miles, right? I got them.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
If in theory I'm compensated because I get twice as many chances to win a car, but I never win anything.
Oh, you know what?
I'm really
We might as well take a
passionate.
moment and talk about that because that's brought up too. Because if you look at the referral program, they have a draw of a Model Y
Yeah.
and a Roadster, and I
Yeah.
know, and it's come up on Twitter. I
Yeah.
even asked recently. I said, "Has anybody else heard any more winnings about the Model Y?" Because we only know of two cases, like publicly, of people that won the Model Y. Right? There was somebody in the U.S. and there was another couple. I think it was in China or something. Right?
Taiwan, I
Or
thought.
Taiwan. That could be it. And since
Yeah.
then, nothing. And
So I know two in the US. One that I made the video on, and then another one somebody reached out to me.
Okay.
And was actually asking me, hey, how do I sell, or like where do you recommend I sell my car? And I was like,
okay.
oh, and then like he kind of was like almost being a little cryptic about it. And so then I asked him, I was like, hey, by any chance, did Tesla tell you that you're not allowed to talk about this? And he goes, no. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you won? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, so they're happening, but it's really weird that it's just, it's very, very quiet. So
Yes, and
you
that's the
know,
thing that I thought.
it-
I mean, well, the thing you have to remember, we're very involved with social media with the Tesla environment, and
yeah,
we would certainly expect somebody wins a Tesla, man, they're going to go on social media and
Yeah.
then just broadcast to everybody. But the reverse has
Yeah.
happened. We've heard very little about this. Matter of fact,
And-
speaking of which, they're supposed to be doing roadster draws. We've had zilch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm also, I mean, it would not surprise me that maybe they're not doing those draws yet because the car's not even in production yet. So what's the rush?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
That
it
makes
doesn't,
sense.
It doesn't spell out in, I mean, if you look at I don't have it here, but if you look at the referral program, it says we'll do a Roadster draw every quarter, but they don't tell you
quarter, yeah.
when they're going to begin them or what quarter they're going to do it in.
That's true. That's
so
true.
anyways.
Or maybe they are picking them and they'll announce them once the
That's-
Roadster actually. Because like think about it, right now, everyone who's won a Roadster, i.e., Trevor, like there is this bit of anxiety of like anxiousness, like, okay, when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? Like, and so I mean, obviously, if you let a bunch of other people know, they might also get just as anxious and keep.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it. It's in my account. When it shows up in the driveway, then it'll be real. Or when I get the phone call, your
Dude,
car's here.
you're
come
gonna
get
get
it.
you're gonna get the car. Do you really think they're gonna stiff you on this? That's not gonna
No,
happen. Come
and
on.
you know what? If you there was some discussion about this on Twitter yesterday. Some people were saying something like, "Well, they're never going to deliver those Roadsters and stuff." And actually, our friend Ryan piped up, and he said, "The time to renege on that was before putting them in people's Tesla's account." And I
Exactly.
agree with that. Right?
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, snap, these guys are really going to get it. Damn it.
It just got real.
Yeah, yeah.
It just
so
got
when
real.
Ryan said that, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that makes total sense." So we'll see what transpires. But anyways. Moving on, let's talk about Cybertruck. Oh, I'm going to be tooting my own horn here a little bit, eh? You know what? The other day I decided, I was looking, because you can't see it here, but I have a Roadster die-cast model up here. And Tesla makes some really nice die-cast models. By the way, if you're not aware of this, Tesla has, other than the Model Y and the Cybertruck, they have a 3, they have an S, they have an X, and the Tesla Semi. Beautiful, highly detailed die-cast models they sell on their shop, and it's shop.tesla.com. I think they're all $175 now. They started a little higher. They've come down in price now. Beautiful models, collector's items, if you will. And I thought, you know what? I haven't seen a Model Y or even a Cybertruck one, so I figured I'd just hop on Twitter and just tag Elon and Franz and Javier Vendura, who also works in the Tesla design studio. Not a lot of people follow him. But anyways, he and I have a pretty good rapport. And I just sent out a tweet. I said, any idea when we can expect an official Tesla Cybertruck die-cast model in the Tesla shop? Didn't expect a response. I just thought I'd just put it out there. Maybe people might retweet it. Well, Javier responded. He says, working on it. So I'm like, oh, yes, finally, it is going to happen.
Nice. Nice.
I also heard through other channels, and I can't confirm this, but they're waiting to release until the factory is ready to go. So I don't think we'll see it necessarily right,
So it'll sort of
right
be
now.
concurrent with the truck starting to come off the line.
and I find that surprising in a lot of ways because, and I had a discussion with Ryan after the fact about certain things, and if you think about it, like why they're selling the Tesla semi-truck die-cast model right now, and it's not even production. I mean, they're going to start now, but they were already doing it before, right?
I think I have your answer.
Okay, what do you think?
You know what that suggests to me is there must be some significant difference between the prototype and what's actually going to go into the production. When I say significant, I don't mean like, it's a different shape or something, but a detail in the bumper, the headlights, something that they've changed. And I think they want the die cast to represent what that's going to be. And obviously they don't want to show that until the truck is ready to present.
So Ian, you make a very good point, because I used to think exactly the same thing, but I don't anymore. And here's why.
Okay.
We know from sightings of the recent Tesla semi-truck, there are some differences from what they're selling in the die cast.
Yeah.
So not necessarily.
Okay. I don't know.
And I would expect to see some. I would expect to see some differences. I mean, look at the Cybertruck RC model. It looks just like the prototype. And
that's true. That's out there,
too,
right? Yeah. Okay.
So
I think you just shot my argument down with that.
Sorry. I just think we have to sort of divorce ourselves from the fact that Tesla is wants to make sure that whatever toys or partnerships they have are exactly what they release. I don't think that needs to be the case.
That's true. I would side with that as well. It's like there is an element of like, hey, we want to keep it pretty exact to what it's going to look like. But I don't know. Are you saying that the S and X are not like that? There's things that are off. Because what about this whole door handles thing? There's still door handles on the RC car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. And the semi-truck prototype had the same Model 3 door handles, but the production one doesn't.
So, that's right. And those door handles are present on the diecast, right?
The Model 3, yes, the Model 3 door handles on the prototype are the same on the diecast. I'm saying the production that we've seen recently of the production or the pre-production semi-trucks that Tesla's been testing on the track and close-up photos don't have the Model 3 door handles anymore. They have a pocket. And the windows are a little different. And it's a little longer here and there. Anyways, there are subtle differences. You have to put two side by side to really see them. But my point is that I don't think they need to be necessarily married to the final design. Roadster, diecast model, doesn't even have windshield wipers. Right?
True.
So, anyways, beat that one to dead horse, but
that's what we do.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to buy one as soon as it comes out. It's pretty cool. And if you haven't seen one of these in person, try to find somebody who has. You'll see. These aren't just Matchbox models. These are significant, and like the Roadster has like fabric seat belts and a flocked floor carpet and little.
Wait, it did?
Oh yeah. Have you not seen
the Roadster seat belts were fabric?
They're fabric, man. I'm not kidding.
Oh, I got to go and look at Zubin's again. Yeah, that's whose first look was.
Yeah, you'll see. When you lift up the lift gate in the back and they've got the little, the gas struts, they move in and out. Oh, yeah. It's very detailed. It's like 180 parts in the damn thing. I haven't figured out how to take it apart, though. It looks like the screws are all hidden and stuff, so I don't know if it's glued together like an Apple product, but whatever. Anyways, let's move on. Speaking of Cybertruck, you guys have seen this Cyberlander thingy? This concept that they tried to raise a bunch of money from, and it's a pretty neat concept. Now, I don't want any YouTube strikes or something, so I'm going to keep the sound down here. We can just kind of watch this thing. So here's the video of this thing. It's a camper built into the bed. It has solar panels, and it looks like it extends like 4 different things. They've got a little kitchen in there, a little bed, a ladder, seats that swivel, a whole bunch of stuff. Anyways, so I have some thoughts on this. I want to hear what you guys think. I think it's easy to make a render, but it's really hard to do production.
Yes, Elon.
Yeah. Well, that was my dig, right? I would caution people. I mean, they were doing pre-sales on this thing for $5,000 deposit at first, then they've completely sold out of those things. I would caution people to be very careful about giving these guys any kind of money to this thing, especially, I mean, if it's in escrow, that's one thing. But if it's, like the first batch where $5,000 over PayPal and you have no recourse, yeah, I would be very, very careful about that. I mean, not to say that I don't think it's a cool concept, but to do a concept and to actually build it in real life, I don't know. It's especially not even seen the real deal. Like we haven't even seen the final Cybertruck. How much is going to change and stuff. I mean, okay, fine. If you're doing things in 3D, you can make changes and stuff. But this thing looks super complicated. Like, where are they going to build all the actuators to lift this thing? I don't know.
Yeah, You know what I would have loved to have seen them do is say like, okay, here $100 refundable deposit, Tesla style, right?
Yeah.
And here's what we hope to make, and we should have a working prototype on X date. Sign up if you're interested. You'll be the first to be able to order it, and on this date, we're going to present to you a working prototype.
Yeah,
right. Show it off. Get that buy-in, because 40 grand, like, God damn it, I could buy another Cybertruck. Like, I get it. It's basically a little house. But yeah, man, 40 grand for a company that I've never heard before. I'm not saying that they can't do it. It's just, we've seen a lot of people promise great things and not deliver. So
I think it's a neat idea, but for $40,000, I think I would take that 40,000 and buy myself a little Airstream.
Well, that's what they're competing against, right? Is the trailer. I think what this is going to appeal to is the real adventure off-roader types who, obviously taking a trailer off-road is not the greatest of fun, whereas if this is all built into the bed, it makes it a lot more usable if you want to go into really rough terrain. So, for the true adventurers, I think it's a great idea. I'm not too concerned about, the whole extension part of it. I mean, so many trailers now have these pop-outs, which work beautifully. So, I mean, anybody who's done work with pop-outs can probably figure out a way to make this thing work in 4 segments. I don't think it's impossible. But I'm with you guys. I'd love to see a real physical example of it.
It'll also reduce drag because, right, you're not tugging something. It's adding
excellent
weight
point,
to the vehicle.
Raj. Yeah. This is not going to have. Yeah, the effect on the range would be minimal, whereas a trailer basically cut it in half, right? So, and there's a whole PETA part when you're supercharging. Is like in a lot of cases you're going to have to detach your trailer to get into the stall. So it addresses a lot of those issues. There's no question this has huge advantages. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people who really do want to travel and camp with the thing. But even the price, again, a decent trailer, well equipped is going to be in that same price range. So I don't think that's a huge problem for anybody who's serious about traveling with it.
But I'm also like, listen, these guys got $50 million. Mm-hmm. You better damn make that. I mean, and they've gotten everyone's attention. Even Lou from Unbox Therapy had a little short just on this.
Well, they're doing their own crowdsourcing, right? To fund this thing. So, well, like I said, I think it's a cool concept. Whether they can actually, fulfill it remains to be seen. Like I said, we haven't seen the final Cybertruck. We don't know how many changes they're going to make on this thing. So, anyways, pretty neat. But buyer beware. That's all I have to say. FineLab has a line of protective coatings that were engineered to protect your Tesla's paint, leather, carpet, plastic, and wheels, effectively blocking all those UV rays and environmental factors before they ever get to ruin your brand new baby. FineLab offers a complete line of car care products and ceramic coatings for both the do-it-yourselfer and professional detailers. Did we mention we also have the world's first self-healing coating? Check us out at finelab.com, that's spelled FEYNLAB, to see the science behind the self-healing. Check out our product catalog and click Contact Us for a free quote from a certified installer in your area. FineLab and Tesla. We were meant for each other. All right, next article. We're going to... Actually, let's take a moment here and just talk about the... and I don't have a picture here, so let's just kill this for a second. Oh, yeah, Raj. Tell us about the RC Cybertruck. You bought one. I missed out. Saw your video with Raj.
Yes. So what's funny about that is when I remember that morning, I remember seeing it come up and I was like, wow, that's pretty slick. And I was like, yeah, I'm not spending $400 on this. That's ridiculous.
And
I get to work and one of my coworkers is like, wow, I'm surprised you're not getting one. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll make a video and, maybe the video will just help offset the cost of the truck and whatever. Sure, fine. I'll just buy one. And so I bought one, not thinking like I have this problem that I don't think on return on investment. Like, let me buy a second one to save, because like ideally I should have bought a second one that just never gets opened. My wife would have hated me for it, but storage wise, but it's okay. In any case, so I bought one, got it. It's ginormous. I mean, the thing is like this big.
You should have had it ready for the show, man.
What's that?
You should have had it ready to show us on the show and just pull it up.
It's just right back there.
Go get it.
Go get it, man. Go get it. Show and tell.
And it comes in a huge box, which is just
Oh my
nuts.
God.
It's a huge box.
That's it's a major suitcase.
Yeah.
Just to
Oh,
put
the
things
Hot
into
Wheels logo
perspective,
on it. Look at it.
Holy
this
crap.
is how big it is.
Yeah.
You know, compared to my head. And I mean, you guys saw the
Don't hurt your
video
bottle.
and stuff, but yeah, this.
Oh,
Yeah,
now, just seeing the
thing.
case now, I want one.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
going to pay
the
very
case is
dearly, though. Uh-oh. Raj just hit his camera.
Yeah. Oh, he's back. He's
Uh-oh.
back. We're all right.
Your camera switched around, buddy.
Interesting. Okay. Let me just put this down on the ground.
There we go. We're back.
Okay. Here we are. Let's see if I can get it in the frame. Okay.
He's frozen. There we go. Oh my gosh. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's, you know, like compared to my head, you could just see just how big. I'm surprised I don't have my measuring tape nearby, but yeah, it's
like
big.
about
But
20
you can
inches long.
see that I had a lot of fun with it.
Yes.
So you can see like
So the thing about the Cybertruck, it is not made of metal. It is plastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you flip it, yeah, you're going to get some. You're going to
Yeah.
get some
It
road.
is
There's
not.
actually
It
pieces-
is not stainless steel. It is not bulletproof.
No, sir.
yeah, there's dirt and pieces still like falling off of it right now.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But
It has.
yeah,
it has.
that's-
It has suspension, right?
yeah. So check this out.
Cool.
Oh,
On the
wait,
back
where
too.
are the- Yeah, you can see.
Give me a close up of the tire treads. I want to see if.
Oh,
those
here
are
we go.
Goodyear MTRs.
Tire man. Here we go.
Oh my God, they are.
Yeah.
Those are the actual Goodyear MTRs. Holy crap, that's amazing.
Nice.
Oh wow, they really went all out. That's
well,
impressive.
I'm sure they did a nice, like a tracks type of a design. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think Mattel.
By the way,
did
there's like
whole thing.
dirt and mud and stuff falling off from it all over me.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, there was the first run with it, and I was, you know, driving it carefully, and you know, I took it on grass and I took it on, you know, a paved road and just nailed it, and it was fast. And you know, getting it to go in a straight line, like I'm not an RC person, so I don't know a whole lot about, you know, remote control cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's even if you adjust the trim, when you're going that fast, you are not going to go straight. And so your instinct is like, oh, let me turn it. And yeah, that's where the problems happen because
The Dukes of
this,
Hazzard.
unlike the real Cybertruck, will obviously have the low center of gravity. What does Tesla always tout is that the rollover, the lack of rollover. Well, in this one, rollover is a big problem when you're going that fast and you hit that turn. Yep, you're gonna, and that was the first on my second day running it with Arash. You know, he had it on insane mode because he was trying to make this jump, and so he's like, "Here, you drive it." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't want to have it on insane mode." And he's like, "Don't just leave it." So I left it on insane mode, and I started driving, and it got a little out of control, and I jerked the controller, and bam, flipped it, and it just once it flipped once. The amount of damage that caused, I was just like, yeah, well, screw it now. Like,
Well,
whatever.
I'm in for a pound, right?
It's not new
It doesn't
anymore.
matter how beaten up it is, though. It still works perfectly. It is fast. And so what I understood was that it's 1/10 scale, but everything is 1/10, including the speed. So that insane
wow.
mode speed is the 1/10 speed of the actual Cybertruck.
Really?
Well, I think
Yes.
it's more. If you scale up the top speed, I think it's more something like 300 miles an hour or something. Did you guys see that video where somebody raced one against a performance Model 3? It left it for dead off the line.
Oh, well.
I like it just poof, gone. I
Well,
mean,
you're
like
talking,
the 3 took a while to catch up.
You're talking 10 pounds compared to 3,500.
Well, exactly. No, the power to rate ratio is actually far superior than anything full size.
Well, it was funny because I hooked up a draggy to it.
Yeah, I saw you did.
Really?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But, you know, like I've never used a draggy before, so I didn't really know. And I'm like, oh, well, it's not getting me the metrics. Well, that's because it's not hitting 60 miles an hour. So,
Right.
you know, that's when all that metrics start to come in. But it stamps how fast it got. And so the little stamp, I think the fastest was almost 30 miles an hour, which in the RC community, they're like, that's nothing. We go 65. And I'm like, dude, 30 was fast as hell for me. So
Cool.
but
well, there you go. But scale that up. 30 times 10 is
300.
right.
Yeah.
So it's fast. I mean,
All right.
scale.
So what's the
fast.
verdict? Is it worth the $400? I think it's worth more like 2, but that's just me.
Yeah, yes, I would agree with that statement.
At $200,
Yes.
it's an easy sell. Minus the case. I don't think you really need all that fancy stuff.
No, God, it doesn't even fit underneath my sofa right here. I was hoping like I could just tuck it away underneath, and it doesn't fit underneath there. I don't know where I'm gonna put. Like my wife was like, "What are you gonna do with that giant case?" And I was like, I don't know. You know, maybe. And the other thing is like I didn't want to sell it because it is pretty cool. Like it's definitely cool to look at and see and own. Whether it's actually worth like the actual play factor. Yeah, you know, like I would have loved if the tonneau cover was remote, like actual motorized.
Wow. Yeah.
I bet you somebody does it.
Yeah, probably. And then to your point, Trevor, is like the accurate, you know, like the attention to detail that Tesla does on their die cast. Not here, right? Like I called that out in my video. It was like even like the back ramp, like it was like off the ground, didn't go like flush. Yeah, like little things.
Yeah.
What can you do?
For sure.
But I mean, I had fun. That day that Arash pushed me to damage it, I mean, as bad as I felt about it, like it was still a fun day.
See, if I get a hold of one of the things, I'm going to take my my calipers to it, and I'm going to measure the body, and I'll 3D model one, and then I can print out new bodies when it gets all scratched up.
Yeah. You know, there is the thought of like, I mean, you cut sheets of, you know.
Well, you know what you should do is take the body off and find somebody who can vacuum form, right? And you can just make a thin shell, and just on top, or you know, all those. You know, I'm sure there's people that can do that stuff. I mean, if you reach out to the RC community, they do that stuff all the time, right?
Here's an interesting point. I did call Hot Wheels. I called Hot Wheels to say like, hey guys, you know, I've got some issues with mine. I wanted to bring up the point of like my tonneau cover gets stuck and it's not smooth, but I also wanted to ask them like, hey, could I get a new shell? Like, is there a way? Like, what people are going to like? Is this really meant to be a collector's item, or is it meant to be used? Because if it's meant to be used, then there is an element to where like if something gets damaged, how do you get parts? Because where am I going to get parts from? So I called them. Horrible customer service. The worst. Like I was talking to people in another country. They were like, oh, okay, well, we need to transfer you to some other team, some other technical support team specialized for this. And those guys like never answered the call. And then they were supposed to call me back. Today I've had zero interaction or zero support from them. So
no, that sucks.
Yeah.
That altogether, is it worth it? Like, no.
That's too bad. Yeah. Well, I have to remember, these things were limited edition models. They're not making any more, are they? Not that we're aware of.
Well, yeah. Who knows? Didn't
I think it's just a matter of time before we get knockoffs out of China, though. Yeah,
and I believe that Javier, somebody did respond to somebody asking about that, and and something hinted at maybe. So I don't know. Who knows? But that kind of bugs me too, because I'm just like, oh man, did I really just destroy a collector's item that was never even supposed to be driven? Like, damn it. What's wrong with me?
Oh, man, you had fun with it. You can't baby everything all the time.
Yeah, I did. That's the other thing too. So, that's new for me. I'm very OCD, so for me to do that was
welcome to.
It was healthy for you.
I don't know if it was healthy. I was pretty messed up for a couple of days.
Maybe not.
Cybertruck depression, man.
What are they going for on eBay? Like $2,500 or something?
God damn it! I don't want to talk about that.
That's the
worst thing to bring.
Sorry, he's just recovering, and you have to throw that.
Oh, that was the first thing I did, and when I saw $2,500, I won't.
God, that's a meme right there. Oh well. Oh well.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you live closer, man, we do a 3D print body for you, man, fix you all up.
I know.
All right, we're getting long in the show here. We got to move on. Okay, the next thing. Let me share the screen so everybody that's on YouTube can see what we're doing here. Let's pull this one up. All right, next one. Looks like there's a new software update that is going out to the fleet. 2021 4.15.5. Green, our friendly white hat Tesla hacker.
Love Green.
Yeah. He is reporting auto wiper code is now using all the cameras for input, so not just the front 3 cameras anymore. He says, I wonder what the logic is here. If the windshield is clean, it's clean, even if the sides are dirty. Anyways, there's a lot of discussion about this. I have some ideas as far as a video is going to do. I'm going to get this thing. We'll see what transpires. For those of you who might be tuning in, who are not aware, Tesla doesn't use, in the Model 3, a traditional rain sensor, like every other manufacturer does for automatic wipers. Tesla relies on their AI neural network vision-based system to detect rain on the windshield. It's been really hit or miss. It's pretty much people have a hard time with it. So anyways, the bottom line, this code looks like they've implemented a new version of it. Now, one time Elon had called it Deep Rain, but we don't know whether they actually released that. Maybe this is the first iteration. Green says he calls it Auto Wiper version 3 in a subsequent tweet. I don't have it here in front of me. Remains to be seen how better this is, if they're actually implementing more cameras. I don't know what the logic is. Like, he's suggesting how much extra cameras can help with this. I don't know. Any thoughts on this? Or
Well, I think a lot of the discussion, a lot of people brought up great points, and that is, sometimes just because of the way the car is so aerodynamic, rain doesn't make it necessarily all the way to the top. You can get a lot of it at the bottom of the windshield and not at the top. The distribution isn't perfect. So if you're using the side cameras, they can see the spray on the road and they can help gauge. So it's giving the car a different point of view. Based on what it's seeing, because sometimes you just get like small artifacts or something dropping into the cameras and they go, there's something on the windshield, and they go nuts.
They flip out.
So if the side cameras can look out and say, hey, there's nothing on the roads, they're dry.
I will say this. I mean, I don't know when the update came out, but I did notice a marked improvement in them when there was whenever that last, the noticeable software update came out where it fixed most of them. Other than them going spazzy occasionally, it has been a lot better than it was originally. But anyways, I'm going to test this out whenever it comes. I've been checking my phone now daily to see if I got a new software. I'm going through software update withdrawal, right? We all get that. We've been spoiled.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's really weird. It has been a while.
Speaking of which, this is a possible look at version 11. So anyways, where did this come from? Because a lot of people have been asking about this. So there's a gentleman who was in charge of Tesla's UI team. He left in March to start his own design company, and for a very short amount of time, he had this video posted on his website, which I linked to, by the way, but it was taken down. I managed to capture it, and it shows some visual, like computer mock-ups of what the UI could look like in version 11. So this right here, if you're looking on the YouTube channel here, you'll see some. Well, of course, now it's just switched over. So now, if you click on close or open on the doors and stuff, it flips the car around. Right now, it's more of a 3/4 view. In the last video, it shows more of the graphics on FSD. So right now, the FSD beta that's going around has, it's a large screen and it shows you a lot more stuff than people are used to. But in this video, it shows more of a scaled down, toned down version of it that shows you things that are drawn a little bit more properly. There's a map here. Here it is right here. So if you're looking at the video, you can see here, this is what could possibly end up, the full FSD final version could end up looking like. We don't know yet. Anyways, version 11 is way overdue. We've been very spoiled over the last few years in about the fall time frame. We're usually getting a software update, version 9, version 10. We're now, 5 months into 2021 and no sign of V11. Scuttlebutt going around is that we could possibly see it with the changeover when the S and the X come out, the new ones, because they now have the horizontal 17-inch screen. There were some spy shots of the software on those that looked a little different. So anyways, we'll see. We were supposed to get a second part of the holiday update, which never materialized. Remember that?
I totally forgot about that.
Anyways, I thought it was neat to show, and not much to say about this. It's just like, okay, it was a concept, and it looks pretty. It looks close to what we have now, minus some changes and stuff. A lot of people are asking about this here. When did the Model S get a sunroof? No, that's for cars that already have the sunroof, guys.
Yeah.
The old ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Use the G meter and the P100D. Updated graphics there for the map.
I wanted to pause that part where it shows on the map, because I was wondering, is there anything on the map that was new, like waypoints?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. No sign of. Here we go. I'll pause it.
Who was that who dropped that this week? I think it was Sean Mitchell, who said Polestar's got waypoints.
Did you see the problems he had? Unfortunately, with his test car. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of trouble. Yeah, 12-volt battery died when he was testing out the Polestar. He was stranded on the road for over 2.5 hours. He had to get an Uber back, $250 Uber ride back to the airport. Anyways, it's a life. I was begging Sean. I said, "Did you vlog this thing so that we can get at least a video out of this?"
Yes.
So, anyways, hopefully we'll
There's
get something out of that.
someone else I know too is also testing another electric vehicle that non-Tesla that had a very bad experience yesterday or the day before. I won't steal the thunder, but let's see. I'm pretty sure he'll keep the video in.
Okay. Look forward to that. Anyways, let's move on. Let's see here. Latest information, Tasmanian is talking about Tesla's recruiting service technicians for its semi-truck program. This is not the first time that Tesla's been asking for people to submit resumes for technicians. This one's kind of interesting, though, because, and this comes from the head of automotive or heavy Tesla trucking, I should say, at Tesla, Jérôme Gouyen, who was the guy who's in charge of the whole semi-truck program at Tesla. He says, looking for additional mobile service technicians. If you have experience in Class A service and are passionate about Tesla and its mission, please apply. Positions are available in Northern California and Nevada. Not a lot of people have talked about that, but that caught my attention right away. I think the way I read this is they're looking for technicians in the first two locations that Tesla is going to be using their trucks, Nevada and the Fremont factory. Tesla has been pretty vocal in the past about them being their first customers for this truck. So I'm not reading into this in the sense that if you apply for this, you're going to get a semi-truck service technician qualification for Vancouver or anything like that. Not necessarily now. But I think this is the first step towards Tesla starting production and making sure that they have those two depots are looked at, A and B points. Remember, Tesla makes the battery packs for the Model 3 and the Model Y in Nevada, and they have to truck them. It's about a 250-mile, 300-mile range or distance between Nevada and the Fremont factory. And Tesla said that they would be using their own trucks, semi-trucks, as their first customers. So semi-truck is going into production, looks like towards the end of this year. It's looking very promising. They've been testing trucks around the track in Fremont. So anyways, if you're interested, I thought it was interesting to let everybody know about this, but that little bit right there about the Northern California, Nevada caught my attention. What do you guys think?
I think you're spot on. It makes complete sense. We know. I couldn't have explained it any better. I got nothing to add. I think you're right. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. I'm right. Move on. Okay. Last article before we get to viewer, listener, and questions. We don't have a lot of those questions today. Maybe it's just the COVID affecting us. But anyways, oh boy, tooting my own horn here again. Anyways, late breaking news for the guys who don't know. Tesla is now offering a pedestrian warning speaker retrofits for certain Model 3s and Model Ys. So I had a source of mine who contacted me with the information. So here are the details. The car has to be made after July 5th, 2019 through September 9th, 2020. This period represents the timing of when the wiring harnesses were included, but not the speaker. So Tesla had started putting in the grill on the bottom, like the front plastic diffuser with the grill, no speaker, no wiring harness. And then they built the wiring harness, and then they started putting the speakers in. My car came with everything because my car had like a very early September build when I picked it up. So that is the time frame. If you're interested in it, it's a $200 install, and that I believe includes labor. So it's not just the cost of the speaker. There's labor involved here. If you have a Model Y, your car has to qualify. It has to be built before August 14th, 2020. All cars delivered after that came with the speaker and everything that you needed. Refer to Tesla Service Bulletin. I think it's a Service Bulletin, S1-21-90.001. If you want to make an appointment to see if it's if you can... to make an appointment with Tesla Service. I'm told that Tesla Service can do it at their depots or through mobile. If you're unsure, contact Tesla. They can look it up through your VIN and see where your break point is. But anyways, that's what I was given as far as information is concerned. Keep in mind, for a lot of people... by the way, it has to be done by a service technician because they have to provision the car so that it knows about the speaker. You can't just plug it in. They have to provision it. They have to make a change in the vehicle's configuration. Only they have the laptops to be able to do that. And there may be a subsequent software update you have to do on the car in order to enable the boombox feature, which is, of course, the thing that everybody wants. Nobody cares about the pedestrian warning.
No,
They want the
safety.
boombox. Yeah,
No.
yeah. Screw safety.
Safety
I want to play my rock and roll through the speaker. Anyways, I have boombox in my car. I've used it like twice, and it's just like, okay, never use it again. So, anyways, I think it's pretty expensive. $200 to spend for something that you're probably going to use a couple times. The novelty wears off so quick. But anyways, there you go. You have it. Elon's finally following through. Took us 6 months. But anyways, so for those of you who have a qualifying car, you can finally get that. So that brings us to the end of the news articles. You guys have any thoughts on that or don't care?
You know, if my car was eligible, I probably wouldn't be all that excited about it. The very fact that I can't get it because my car is too old, I'm like, damn,
Me too.
I want that now, you know?
It's so funny. It's so funny because when I did a video, like I said, my car had the PWS in the car, and I did a video on how to disable it. Just reach in and pull the plug. Because
That was the best.
I was seeing so many comments when I talked about the PWS was coming, because I got the first sounds that I released. And everybody's like, I hate that, I never want that, I'm going to plug it and stuff. Okay, fine, I'll show you a video, I'm going to plug it if you don't like it. And then Elon says, we're going to make this fun, we're going to have speaker sounds and stuff. And then everybody lost it. Now everybody wanted a retrofit.
Yeah,
So
I can't
it's
stand
just-
the default sound. It's so annoying. My car is silent, and I like it that way. But there is, just like Ian said, there's a little part of me. It's like, that kind of nice to play around with.
The sound that it makes when you go in forward it's just white noise, and you can't even really hear it. But when you put it in reverse and it goes and starts backing up, there are times when I put it into reverse and I'm always looking around, making sure people are not looking at me because I'm kind of embarrassed. It's a little obnoxious. And I'm like, I hear other cars and there's lots of hybrids now that make the noise, not like Tesla does. And I'm like, I wish Tesla's was a little less annoying, but oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on here to listener and viewer questions. By the way, when we do the podcast, usually on Thursdays, I send out a tweet asking for people, if you have car or Tesla questions, please submit them through Google Forms. So I want to say thank you to, 2 people that submitted questions today. We usually get about 10 to 15. So let's jump into this. So the first one comes from Ken. I'm getting tongue-tied here. I must be tired. He asks a tire question. He says, what type of tires did Eric get on his Model 3? Can you get them for the Model S too? His driving style sounds like mine. Ian, that's a question for you. Do you even recall what he had on his car? Do you remember?
Yes, I know exactly what he has. He has
there
the
you go.
Michelin Tire Geek. Dude, what do you expect?
In one ear, not out the other.
No, exactly. It's really useless information to retain. I'm so much fun at parties, but what can I tell you? He's got Michelin Cross Climates, which is a hugely popular replacement choice for folks like Eric, who are relatively moderate and very safe, sane drivers. It's a fantastic choice. Even though he's in Florida, he's never really going to be able to take advantage of the snow capabilities built into that tire, because the Cross Climate is not just an all season, it's an all weather. It's actually got the 3PS, the mountain snowflake rating.
Okay.
So you can use it in, you can use it in genuine snow conditions. So far people are loving it. It's quiet. It seems durable. Yeah, well, that's the question, right? Can you get it for the Model S? Now, I wish I'd seen this question earlier. I would have looked it up to see for sure. I would think you could. I mean, they've got such a fantastic reaction from the Model 3 community. They'd be insane if they didn't do it in the S sizing.
For Ken, can you just repeat, for Ken's benefit, can you repeat the exact model again so he can look it up?
Michelin Cross Climate.
Okay.
Yeah. The original one was Cross Climate. There was Cross Climate Plus. Now it's the Cross Climate 2. The next generation is out. But I mean, they're just minor refinements. But yeah, it's a nice all-around tire. If you want something that's comfortable, quiet, works in any weather, is relatively durable. It's really, as we say in French, the Monsieur Madame Tout le Monde tire. It works for pretty much anybody. The only person who wouldn't like it is if you're a lead foot, and you really like to drive the car like, in a spirited fashion, as we say. Then this is not your tire, because it doesn't like going 10/10s. It's happy up to about 7/10s.
Cool. But would you say that those are the best tires that you recommend?
Oh, I would never make a blanket statement like that. Go on the 2 forum. I started a thread on this because I get bombarded with
Yeah.
questions on Twitter,
I
and I'm
know.
so happy to help people. You know, it's like the internet has saved me from so many catastrophic things over the years. My way of paying back is a little bit of knowledge I can help people with, pay it back into the system. But that one gets out of control in a hurry. It's like, what's the best tire? And what I always like to throw back at people is like, well, what's the best food? And then they go, oh, I understand. It's like, there's like thousands of different types of food and different restaurants and different types of cooking the same food. Like you can take a steak and cook it 16 different ways, right? It's the same with tires. There's no one answer to that. It could be hours long discussion. So what I did is I started the thread on the forum, and it's like, okay, list the 5 things to you that are the most important, and we'll go from there. And people, it's now become an information exchange. If you go on just the Model 3 replacement tire thread, on Tesla Owners on forum, everything is there. We're up to like, I don't know, 40 pages or something of discussion. It's a great place.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great
I mean,
resource.
if you came to me with a very, very specific question between this tire and this tire, and I do this much mileage, and I don't mind. That's an easy question to answer, but it's not that simple. Just because there's no one perfect tire. It all depends on who you are, where you drive, how much durability do you want. All of these things factor into it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there you go, Ken. I hope that answers your question. Like I said, I'll put a link to Ian. Remind me, and I'll put a link to the model. And then maybe if I'm in the forum thread, I'll put that in the show description. All right, next question comes from Daniel. He says, I'm working from home and have access to a high-powered wall connector, also known as the Tesla wall connector, or anybody's wall connector for that matter. He says, what's the best charge limit to leave my Model 3 at now that my driving has decreased? I currently leave it at 75%. Thanks. Well, if you're in a Tesla, the lowest you can charge is 50%. That is basically what Tesla considers a long-term storage level. Remember, voltages are such that the lithium-ion batteries are happiest for long-term storage at about 50%. So if you're not driving all that much, and of course that's up to you to determine what your daily driving needs are. If you're just doing groceries around the town and you don't plan on doing a long trip, set it at 50. I'm in the habit right now of 60% because I'm not driving all that much. If I know I'm going somewhere, if I need to go somewhere, well, then I change it. And you can do it right on the app. So I don't think there's anything wrong with 75%. But like I said, if you're doing anything for long term, you might want to consider reducing it a little bit just for longevity of the battery. Batteries on the Model 3, all things considered, practically bulletproof. They're really, really resilient. I mean, how many battery fires have we actually seen on the Model 3 compared to the Model S and the X? Virtually
zilch.
Like virtually zilch. Battery degradation. It's a real phenomenon, but really, really good. I mean, Raj, didn't you say something recently about your battery's been really, really good? Was that you or is that somebody else? Am I mixing you up with somebody?
It might have been someone else, but I mean, even still with me, my battery's been great. The thing is, like, battery topic is I can post one picture of my battery and it will just garnish like a gazillion tweets below it of just people like, hey, what about mine? Like, what I say is that, just drive the car and enjoy it. It's
set
it's
it to
there.
percentage.
You got
and
the
forget.
range. Yeah, set and forget. Like, there's so many things that will affect that range. I increased my tire size. My range went to shit. The wind is blowing the wrong way. I'm going uphill. Like, everything will affect the range. Yeah, there's so much. And yes, but I'll be honest, when I went from, I was doing about 240 kilowatt hour prior on my 19s. And when I went with those 20s, oof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm averaging
about
the price. 300. Yeah, I'm paying the price for them looking good.
So
but
nice.
Yeah,
I love my zero
I know.
Gs.
It's just shocking to me that going from a 19 to a 20 could make that big of a difference. And that's what I tell people. It's just like, listen, if I were to recommend something for someone, I'd say, like, if you want to go big, go largest 19. Don't go to the 20s.
You know
like,
what?
You're really lost of range. So my buddy's
is
buying a Y, and his wife wants the upgraded wheels. And I said, that's fine, but just know you're not going to get the rated range that they are saying that you're going to get.
And that's the thing.
Just
I mean, my performance.
I can fix that.
Oh yeah, Ian can fix that.
We have 20-inch arrows coming, baby.
That'd be nice.
That was my recommendation. I was like, I would not go with the Tesla aftermarket. I would buy the free ones and then get an aftermarket.
Absolutely. EV01s, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my car came with 20s right off the bat. I didn't change anything other than get the 0Gs. So for me, my normal is what the car gets.
Right.
If it does better, fine. But I'm not switching my wheels around just for extra range because it's plenty for what I need it, and I understand my car. My recommendation for, especially with new owners, as soon as you get your car, please, for everything that is holy, switch it over to percentage.
Yes.
Why Tesla insists on delivering the cars at rated rather than percentage is just, to me, is just insanity, because nobody explains it to these new owners, and then they flood social media and they're confused. It's like, and I understand and we've talked about this so many times, and yes, there's a case to leave it in rated range for some people, but the thing is that a cell phone doesn't show you talk minutes. It shows you battery percentage. Gas cars, modern gas cars have a trip computer in there where it shows you range, but it's not on the display normally. It still has a gas gauge that shows you empty or full. So
that's actually true. I didn't think of it that way, but I do. I was thinking of it that they did it because it's a easy step from ICE to EV, because some of the modern day ones now show you've got
Range
20 miles left and so forth. But I didn't think about the older ones. You're absolutely right.
Here's the thing, and I do recommend people, when they first get the car, drive it down to 20%. That's when it goes into the orange. Make note of what your rated range is left. Make a mental note, and then that way, when you switch it to percentage and it hits 20, you know roughly how much range you have, and then that's the time to seek charging. And that's the way I operate. I don't care what the range is, because the range fluctuates so damn much anyways. It's just like, I just drive it on a daily basis. I don't even look at the battery meter unless I go on a really long trip and I know from experience that, okay, I might have to do a charge. But I use the trip computer, and the trip computer takes all of that away.
I will add to that. This has become an epidemic during the pandemic. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I hope Eric's listening. He might appreciate that.
There's our show title right there.
There we go. So what's been happening is exactly, Daniel's question. A lot of people have been lowering their charge rates. Like I've been leaving mine at 40 or 50%, exactly for the reasons described, because the car just doesn't go anywhere. But we all know, and Trevor and I know from very real world experience, that if you're constantly charging small amounts in the middle of the pack range, like from 20, 30, 40 up to 60%, never going to the bottom and never going to the top, your BMS, your battery management system, which is what generates that calculated range limit, gets very, very confused. So that causes two problems. It means that you might get down below 10% and the car might quite suddenly run out of range, as what happened to us when we came home from the lightning run last year after supercharging the car like 100 times in a couple of weeks. It just didn't know which way was up. So if you're constantly in that middle range, like 40, 50, 40, 50, 40, 50, even between 30 and 70, we've seen this happen where the rated range gets way out of whack and people are like, oh my God, I've got 20% battery degradation. No, your BMS is confused. So the solution to that is run it down to like around 5%, let it sit there for a couple hours, jack it up to 90 or 100, let it sit there for an hour, then bring it back down again. I guarantee you'll come right back within a hair of whatever your original factory rated range was. That is the solution. But there's a huge thread going on the Tesla Owners Online Forum right now about battery degradation, and people are losing their minds. And I guarantee you the large number of them is because we're all running in this little middle zone where the car has, it just never sees either end of the voltage spectrum.
Yeah. Exactly.
So everything gets out of whack and it just gets confused, and there's nothing wrong with the battery. You didn't break it. You just need to reset it.
Well, and that's the thing go ahead, Raj.
Go ahead, Trev.
No, go ahead.
No, the first time I actually ever experienced that, Ian, was I was at a supercharger and I was like, why? I was on a road trip. I was like, why is it taking so long to get 100%? Yeah. And then someone was like, hey, it's recalculating and it's filling up every cell to 100% and realizing what the true 100% is, because you don't normally always charge to 100%. So letting it know it's low and letting it know it's high. Exactly what you said, Ian. Couldn't agree with you more.
It's all about voltages. And for those of you who are new to electric vehicles, we're not talking about fuel anymore that we're burning. It's about voltages. And these packs have, in the case of Tesla, several thousand of these little cells in the battery pack, and they're organized into series and parallel modules. And each one of those is monitored by the computer systems, the battery management system. They're the BMS. And when you do 100% charge, it's very fast to charge a battery when you're at a low stated level because you can just chuck electrons out of it, right? But when you get past 80%, it's like filling a glass of water. If you don't slow down, you're going to overflow. But in this case, the battery needs to know, or the system needs to know where to put these electrons. And the way it does that is by measuring the voltages. And unfortunately, we don't have access as users to Tesla's service panel that's built into the car that shows you, because they have a service panel where it shows you, and I have a picture from my Model X when I was able to get into it once with some assistance, where it shows you all the voltages from all the little modules. Anyways, when you're doing 100% charge, or above 80%, I should say, it takes longer because the system is measuring these voltages from all these different cells, highs and lows, and trying to balance them. And that's literally what it's called. It's called balancing. And that process of charging, trickle charging up and trickle charging down takes a long time. And that's why it takes so much longer to charge when you go to 100%. So anyways, it's a game of voltages. Just learn it. But for daily driving, yeah, 80, 90% is fine. If you're in the cold and you need to go on an extra long trip, yeah, you set it to 100% because you're going to burn off that first 100% pretty quickly, just heating the cabin and the battery and electronics and stuff. So anyways, if you're doing, like I said, if you're not doing too much driving, just chuck it down a little bit. But yeah, Ian's absolutely right. There's times when it can get out of whack. And the solution is just do 100% down, up, and then you're good to go.
And again, not to dissuade anybody from using the 50%, because we've had Kyle Connor on here, and Kyle is Mr. Battery Wizard as far as I'm concerned. You know, his word is gold. And he was like, yeah, 40 to 50% on Tesla batteries is the super long-term happy range. Like, don't get really anal about it, but there's no harm at all. That's what the battery is going to, you know, really, really be happiest with if it has to sit there for months at a time. Yeah. But do expect that you might suddenly see a weird drop in your rated range. And no, you didn't break the battery. You just need to reset it. It's all good.
Speaking of which, I should add one more thing, and we're going to finish the show here. When you're doing long-term storage, if you can, turn off things like Sentry Mode and stop checking on the battery. The car... I know it's really tempting to check your app and see what the charge limit is, or what your charge is on the car. Listen, when the car sits for a while, it goes into a deep sleep and it turns off a whole bunch of stuff, and the battery will just sit there, not like vampire drain and all this other stuff, especially if you turn off Sentry Mode, which keeps the autopilot computer alive, which sucks a lot of juice. If you turn that off and you stop checking on it, it will last a long time. You have to watch Bjorn's video. He went away for a month and his Model 3 came back and it lost nothing because he turned everything off. The moment you fire up your app because you're anal and you want to check, it has to wake up the whole system and expend a whole bunch of energy, and then it takes a long time for it to go back in sleep mode. So anyways, just trust me on this. Set it and forget it. Don't check on it. It's going to be perfectly fine. If you don't believe me, go watch Bjorn's video.
This applies, by the way, if your car is not plugged in. Obviously, you know, if you don't have access to charging and you want it to sit on its own, you can't plug it in. If the car is plugged in, check it every day. There are children. We have to check on them, right?
Yeah,
we're OCD. As long as it's plugged in, there's no harm.
Yeah, even if it's 110, just plug it in, and the car will take care of itself. Just leave it alone. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the end of the show. Raj, since you're our special guest, you get to go first. Plug whatever the hell you want. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter, Tesla_Raj, or on YouTube, youtube.com/TeslaRaj. Just making videos, educating as much as I can about electric vehicles, Teslas, and everything under. And of course, if you have any personal questions about Tesla or your vehicle or something you're trying to purchase or whatever it may be, they can email me, raj@teslaraj.com.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We always enjoy your company. It's always fun to have you on.
Indeed.
All right. Ian, where can people find you if they want to chat with you?
Well, before I do that, I'm going to step in and I'm going to fill some pretty big shoes here because something that I did today that's, since we're missing our social conscience, our moral compass of the show, Mr. Camacho, I'd like to try and do a little bit of what I think he would like to have done. I actually got my vaccine today. And I was so excited to do that. So yeah, we're very fortunate in Canada. Things are ramping up now. People like myself in the 50s and now 40s and 30s, we're all going to start to get them soon. So wherever you're living, I hope you're in good health. I hope you, friends, family, everybody's doing well. But please, we're fighting a war here. Whatever it takes to convince you. So far, the science on this is excellent. The vaccine is safe. It's our best way out of this. please, for the love of God, go get vaccinated. Please. My personal little shout out on mine and I think Eric's behalf. I think he would approve of that message.
Yes.
Agreed.
So there's that. And then, of course, where to find me on Twitter, at Ian Pavelko is the handle. If you have any questions about wheels, tires, or something I may be remotely helpful with, I'm always open to doing so. Very happy to do so. DMs are open. You can find me at Tesla Owners Online. The handle is Mad Hungarian. Be sure to put the @ Mad Hungarian, all one word, and then I will appear because I'm lazy. And unless I see a ding pop up on my computer, I won't necessarily find you. But if you tag me, I will show up, I promise, and I'll help. And finally, if you're looking for something in the air, you can go to my Teespring store, teespring.com, and look up Mad Hungarian Evolveware in the search tool. You will land on my store. You'll find all the Evolveware shirts, plus this new little handy dandy one I
really
came
cool.
up with, which I thought was fun.
Raj, did you see this?
Rove it till you stole it.
Rove it
like you stole it. Exactly. with the little rover. Yeah.
Rover
this
wheel.
I saw months ago when NASA published those pictures
Yeah.
of the original Mars rover wheels, and they've actually worn the treads out. There's sections of the wheel missing. That's how much they drove them.
Yeah.
So I just thought, rove it like you stole it, baby. It just
The most
I did a shirt.
appropriate shirt for you.
Yeah, there you go. I thought so. So
That is
awesome.
cool.
it's a very niche wheel/space geek combo. If you are so inclined, it's there. It's available.
That's an awesome shirt. Very cool. Well, I guess it's my turn.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, very active on Twitter. You can find me at Tesla Owners Online. Check out the forum at teslaownersonline.com. The friendliest and awesomest place to talk about Tesla in a friendly environment on our forum. It's totally free. You can go sign up. Doesn't cost you anything. We got to monetize it with ads and stuff. So if you don't want the ads, you can just upgrade your account and stuff for a few bucks, and you're off and running. Lastly, I want to take a moment and thank everybody who donated on Twitter to the Canadian Cancer Society on behalf of my sister. My sister has terminal cancer, and she's not doing well. Matter of fact, she was just moved to palliative care today. So I just want to say thank you on her behalf. She was very adamant that she wanted to do something in the sense of trying to raise money, at whatever she could, so that it would potentially help somebody else and potentially cure this cancer blight. And nobody should ever have to suffer through this. So I want to say a heartfelt thank you for everybody who's donated, either through her campaign that she had on Facebook or just donated directly, like many did on Twitter. It means a lot to her. I get a chance to see her on Saturday. They've made some very special arrangements through us at the hospital because of COVID lockdown and stuff. We can't just have visitors and stuff. So we get to visit her. Hopefully it won't be the last time, but yeah. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been sending out their kind thoughts and stuff. It really helps a lot with the family. She's in good spirits. She understands her fate. And the family has been reaching out. And so anyways, I'll leave it at that. I want to say thank you to everybody. And that's it for this show. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
Bonsoir tout le monde.